What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Sinéad O'Connor. And we're back to finish her 1990 album, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, with the title track. I've been thinking about the title of this tune-in album since I started going through the record. The phrase speaks to some degree of contentment, a lack of desperation or desire to acquire more, to change one's status or situation, to get something new. It feels that whoever would say such a phrase is happy with what they have, or at least comfortable where they are and not wanting to live in a dynamic way, but in a more or less static way, although I suppose static can sometimes be seen with negative connotations. But it sounds like someone who is content with the way things are. So I wonder, given her intensely emotional and in some cases autobiographical writing style, I wonder what may be at hand. Let's see what I can pick up. This is Sinéad O'Connor. The track is I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, and it's from the album of the same name, 1990.
I'm walking through the desert, and I am not frightened, although it's hard. I have all that I requested, and I do not want what I haven't got. I have learned this from my mother. See how happy she has made me. I will take this road much further, though I know not where it takes me. I have water for my journey. I have bread and I have wine. No longer will I be hungry, for the bread of life is mine. I saw answer to the sea. So I'm walking through the desert, and I am not frightened, although it's hard. I have all that I requested, and I do not want what I haven't got.
It's crazy how you reduce something down to just a vocal performance, make it an a cappella, and it somehow gives it this intensity. So it's an interesting thing in that sonically, it's not this big, dense, layered, different instruments, different sections type of piece. It's a singular vocal performance, an a cappella song, and yet it has this intensity to it the whole time. So it's a brave vocal performance. There's been a couple times where I've talked about Tori Amos songs, the way you can hear her breath, you can even hear her, getting her mouth ready to sing the next line, little like pops and snaps and so on. And there's a simplicity and intimacy, a humanity to that, and you definitely hear that in this performance. It's just her in front of the mic, not using any tricks or post-editing techniques to minimize the breath or whatever. It's literally just her giving this story, which seems to be full of metaphor and analogy or allegory perhaps, but it's a very direct and human performance vocally, a very deep performance. A lot of the lines and a lot of the words come through in this deep low resonance, and then a deep breath, and here comes the next line, and most of them seem to start with I, like it's a very personal, autobiographical, poetic vision. And indeed, talking about walking through the desert, but she's not frightened even though it's hard, talking about flying over the sea and the colors blue, and eventually recognizing, what was it, that she's the bluebird. I don't know if I'm remembering that exactly right, but clearly a life journey, a coming of age, or learning the ways through her mother, who is referenced multiple times, and the hunger for the bread of life. And again, I feel like there's maybe not only poetic but perhaps religious connotations to some of the lines. People explain that she had a complicated relationship with her mother, and in some ways, certainly from the outside looking in, it wasn't a healthy relationship, but obviously very impactful all the same, and surely with dimensions that would have been important to her, even if, again, in other respects, it was not ideal. So it feels like all that comes through. I'm not quite sure how to place all of those poetic or metaphorical visions, so I will lean on the comments, look forward to reading those. But a stark, intimate, and intense song, and one that was very impressive, both in its, again, vulnerability, but also power and humanity. So an incredible way to end the album, an incredible album overall, even just after a couple records. It's clear she was so much more than the public persona. And don't get me wrong, the public persona had different dimensions, even as I've known them more or less from a distance, just having a sense of who she was when I was younger, and then as I've gotten older and began to go through this deep dive, starting to learn a little more of those details through people's comments. But just hearing her music, she had a lot to offer and a lot of intense creativity from a very early stage. So yeah, learning more and more about that, this wraps up the record very nicely and very powerfully. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.